You guys are in for an absolute treat today. I am so excited to introduce to you one of my favorite Teachers Pay Teacher helpers out there. In fact, I believe, as far as I know, she had the very first course for TPT sellers. And one of the things that I love the most about her is that her strategies are incredibly simple. She has built a very successful business by just focusing on the basics. And she's going to be sharing what those basics are today. Now, you want to make sure that you stick around to the very end because at the end, she is going to be sharing with you guys a free challenge that she has for TPT sellers every October. This challenge is one of my favorites. In fact, it is a challenge that got me started being serious about my Teachers Pay Teachers business back in 2017, and she still runs this challenge today, but with some really fun updates, and you're going to want to stick around so you can find out how to join that free challenge. All right. Now, before we meet Shelly, if you're noticing a difference in my audio or visual quality, and obviously my location, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm on vacation, and I actually recorded this podcast with Shelly the day that I flew out to start my vacation. And so I'm recording this on vacation because I want to make sure that you got this information before the challenge starts. So without further ado, I want you to go ahead and I want you to meet Shelly. Hey, Shelly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Lauren?
I am so good, and I'm so excited to have you here and to talk to you because you are one of my favorite TPT sellers, but also my favorite TPT seller helper that's out there. And so I'm really excited for other people, there are people who have been tuning into my podcast for a while now, for them to be able to hear from you and learn from you if they haven't met you already.
Thank you so much. That's just a very nice compliment, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. A little bit of backstory here for those listening. I was telling Shelly before we started recording that I actually joined her course in December of 2017. And I've talked about it before, but I don't think I've ever said, oh, it was Shelly Rees's course. But it was like the moment that the whole trajectory of my TPT store changed. From December of 2017, within less than 2 years, it was within about 13 to 14 months, I started out earning my teaching salary and going from maybe making $300 or $400 a month when I joined your course. So really, really grateful for you and for everything that you've taught me. And I'm excited for other people to get to learn from you too. So
thank you.
Can you start by just telling us, like, how did you get started selling on TPT? Tell us a little bit about your TPT journey and how you got started doing that.
Absolutely. So it's kind of a funny start to the journey. Back in December of 2013, my family and we lived in Pennsylvania, and we needed to go to Colorado to see our oldest son graduate from college. And we were broke. We were just absolutely broke. We sold a set of bedroom furniture in order to be able to pack into our van and drive nonstop out to Colorado to see it. And we stayed with my sister and her family while we were there. And my sister's also in education. And we were sitting in her living room at the end of December in 2013. And she's like, we should each start a store on TPT. And I'm like, I don't know. I honestly did not know if it was legit. And I'm like, okay, what the heck? Like, what would we have to lose? So we each made a freebie. I put it up, and then I linked. I don't know how I knew how to do this. I linked a paid product to the freebie. So I had the freebie. The first paid product I had was linked to a freebie. And my husband and I were driving home in our van. And on it was January 3rd. I have notes over here. January 3rd, I sold my very first product. It was that paid product. We were driving across the country, and I made, I made $1.90. And I was so excited. And I was like, okay, this is legit. So I just went for it after that. And I just wanted to make enough money to get Diet Cokes because honestly, like, that was a huge treat for me back then. We were very, very tight with our money. We just did not have any extra to go around. And So I wanted $20 a month. That was my goal. And that very first month, I made $112.
Oh,
And yeah, it was like so exciting for me. So I just began to work long, long, long hours. And by October of that year, I had met the first milestone on TPT, which is 20,000. Is it 20,000 or 25,000? I
I
can't
think it's
remember.
20, but I
I
can't
think it's
remember.
22.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning.
That is so neat. I love that. So, how did you make that transition from going from having a successful store, starting that successful store, to helping other TPT sellers do that as
Yeah,
well?
so that was it never, like, in the beginning, it was never my intention. Like, I didn't have the confidence and I felt like I really didn't have the skills to help other sellers. But I wanted to present at one of the conferences. So I applied in 2015 at Las Vegas. I was on a panel and we had 11 attendees in the room, which was great. And it was good because it helped me with my confidence just to have a smaller audience. But the next year in 2016 was the first time I presented by myself. And it was out of that presentation that the course was born, because I had so many people come up to me after that presentation saying, I want more. Like, I want more. Can you help me? And I didn't have time to help each person individually. And so I didn't even know I was making a course. What I did was people bought, I think it was $39. They signed up and I built the course as we went. We did a Facebook Live each week and I built the module the week before I presented it in a Facebook Live in the closed group. And those sessions ultimately became the course. I've refined them since then. I've added things, I've changed things, but the basic modules are still the same, because I feel like those time-tested things like product covers, titles, descriptions, those are the things that will make or break your business. So those have remained in the course and they always will.
Yeah, I love that. So I love, first of all, and this kind of goes along with the theme of what we're talking about today, where you're building this course, and I'm sure you realize this now, but the way that you were building it is like building it as you went, module by module. That's literally how the experts now tell you to do it. And back then you're just like, I'm just going to do this thing. But what I love about it was you were putting out helpful content. You were putting out things that were going to help people, and you were doing it in a way that was going to work for you. And it was the path to success without you even knowing that that's how they're going to teach people to make courses,
Right,
later on.
right. I was
And
clueless.
yeah, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So, talk to us about that success path, because one of the main reasons that I asked you to come on and to talk today is that I have a membership for TPT sellers, and what I hear a lot from people who are not members, from people who are members of my course, is over and over and over again, they feel like they should be doing A, B, C, D, all the way through J. They get to where they're like, okay, I want to amp it up. I want to take my business to the next level. And so they feel like in order to do that, they have to add something else to their plate. And that was one of the things that probably the biggest thing that I took away from you and being a part of your course and being a part of your community was that you don't have to do that. So talk to us about how your business success path has looked different from, say, other successful sellers who are out there and who are loud and who are sharing. And I don't mean loud in a negative sense, but you know what I
Sure.
mean, who are filling that space. And why has that been an important part of your growth as a seller, to not focus on what everyone else is doing and just run your business the way that you feel it needs to be run?
Yeah, so such an important point. So when I started, like, I had no blog, no Facebook page, no Instagram, none of those things. And I will say, for the first 100 products that I created, products were my sole attention, because I figured, if I go into a store, and the shelves are just kind of bare, like, I'm not going to stay there. I'm probably going to walk, turn around, go back and find a different store where I have other things to select from. So that was one of the things that I felt early on, like, I just got to really focus on these products and making sure that they are good products, so that people come back. Because if you just have fluff and just, basic things that everybody else seems to be making in your store, it's, they can find those anywhere. So you've really got to be yourself, be authentic. And the other thing was, I know myself, and I know through my entire life I have struggled with anxiety and depression. And a lot of that, what feeds that is when I compare myself to others. And so I know myself well enough to know that if I'm constantly looking at what everybody else is doing, it's going to be bad for me. And it's going to affect me negatively, then I'm going to be not productive at all. So I just decided early on, I'm putting blinders on, I'm going to do my thing. And since then, I mean, it's been 8 years, or 9 almost, I have learned how to blog. I do have Facebook presence. Instagram, I hire somebody to do. But I'm not really present in many of those things because I have found that I don't get a lot of traffic from those, and I'll talk about this in a minute. I like to put my energy where it's going to pay off.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we could spend 5 days talking about just that right there.
Yes. Yeah.
But let's get into some of the meat of that, because you kind of teased us a little bit. Let's talk about how have you determined what you're going to focus on and what doesn't deserve your attention? How have you done that?
Yeah, so early on, what I did in the beginning was I focused on product creation and making the best resources that I possibly could. And I paid attention to the things that were selling in my store. And back in the day, we did not have the luxury of having the traffic tab. We did not have all of the data that we have today. So I just looked at what was selling. And I paid attention to those things, and that helped me to replicate those things for future products. Today, now that we have access to more data in our store, I use that data to inform me of what I need to be making, what I need to be optimizing and revising in my store. So now I kind of work at a ratio, because I have over 900 products. I work at a ratio of, revising probably 8 products to every 2 new products that I create. And that helps me to keep a balance of what I'm doing. But I look at, on the data, I look at, first of all, there's so many ways you can use the data. We could have multiple podcasts on this. I'm trying to think of how to even start to tell this, but I look at products, first of all. So you can look on your dashboard and do the drop-down menu for any date range. And look at that drop menu, see what your top sellers were during that date range. And if a product is selling well, I'm going to pay attention to that product. I might then decide to market that product in some way. I still use promoted pins. They work for me. They don't work for everybody, so you have to find what works for you. And I'll tell you how to look at that in a second. But so I look at what products are selling well. Then I scroll all the way down to the bottom to find the products that didn't sell. And those products need some kind of attention. So I make a list of those products. They either might need to be fixed, they might need a title change. Maybe it was one of my older products and it doesn't have a good cover, it doesn't have a preview in place. So all of those things need to be put into place. And I fix those. Or sometimes I deactivate. So just if it's not doing its job, it needs to either be fixed or it needs to be taken off my shelf in my store. But then I look at the traffic tab. I know I'm rambling on here. I
Oh no,
apologize.
this is all great information. You keep rambling. We love it.
And then I look at the traffic tab on the dashboard. It's really, really helpful to look at that traffic tab because for me, it validates the fact that, okay, I'm not really doing much on Instagram. It's not really for me. It causes me anxiety. I do schedule posts on there myself, but I'm not doing a whole lot on there. And it's okay because the majority of my traffic for me would be in this order. It would be from TPT search, then it would be from my blog, then it would be from my promoted pins on Pinterest, and it would be in that order. Oh no, I'm sorry, my email is above
Email.
that. So I have an email list, and I do suggest that you use UTM codes when you are doing any sort of marketing or sharing a link to a product on Instagram or whatever, or in an email. I'd suggest using those because then you can look at your traffic and see what's working, what's not. And I'm going to tell you, I only focus on the things that are working. I don't have a huge team. I do hire out occasional tasks here and there, but for the most part, it is me. Some people do have a huge team, and that's fine. I'm glad for those people, honestly. It's just not me. I would rather just be myself and do things by myself. So what works for one person might not work for another. And you cannot jump on every single trend that you see happening if you want to be successful with your business. You have to have very strong willpower because people will try to market things to you, they'll try to sell things to you, and it might not end up working for you. So focus on the things that really are going to have the greatest impact. Look at your data. Use that data to help you figure out your own plan.
Yeah, I love that. Because like, I'm the same way as you. I've pretty much given up on Instagram. I don't even hire it out. I rarely post on there, like because it just doesn't drive the traffic. But I can look at my TPT dashboard and I can see email marketing is what's working for me. And so because of that, every event that I do, everything that I do revolves around growing that email list
Yes.
or honing my email marketing skills because that's what's working for me. So I love that. I absolutely love that. I think that's dynamite advice. And the things that what I'm hearing you saying in there, and this is what I really want people to hear, is you're not talking about anything new, fancy, schmancy. You're not talking about any of that. You're talking about really basic stuff. Your covers, your previews, tweaking your titles and your search engine optimization, just taking a look at your dashboard, not a deep dive into your dashboard, not any of that, just looking and just seeing where's my traffic coming from, what's performing well for me. I focus my attention on that. And then if I have resources that are not performing that I feel like should be performing, then I'll focus my attention there. And if the resources aren't performing and they don't represent my store, they don't represent my brand, then we're just going to set them to the side. So I love that. If you were starting a store tomorrow from the ground up,
Okay.
what tasks are going to make the cut for you? Where are you going to start and what are you going to focus on? Talk to us about what would make the cut.
Sure, and I'm going to say that for people just starting out, it would be the same answer as what I do today. And I'm going to tell you, Lauren, I just had in August was my best month ever on TPT. So I am still growing by mainly focusing on the things that I'm going to tell you right now. So these are timeless. So my advice to you is really buckle down and focus on product creation. And then when you're making your products, these are the things that you want to make sure you have in place. Make sure that your product is high quality. Make the hard things. It will take longer, but it first of all shows that you are an expert at what you're talking about as an educator. And secondly, those harder things I'm talking about, like for me, it was writing reading passages and doing all of those things. Those things you're going to have a little less competition on TPT perhaps for, because not everybody makes the hard things. Second of all, make sure when you have freebies in your store that they serve a purpose. And I would suggest not having more than 5% of your store being freebies. Originally, the suggestion was 10%, but I honestly think if your freebies are really good and powerful, 5% is a nice spot to sit at. Make sure that your titles are straightforward and searchable. You don't want to have a cutesy title because nobody's going to be searching for that. So your title, you want to make sure that it's used for your title exactly what people are going to be typing in and looking for on TPT. Make sure your covers are square. Don't use cutesy fonts on your cover that are hard to read. Make sure you have colors that are maybe bold, that stand out. You want people to stop scrolling when they catch a glimpse of your cover. Make sure that you have a preview in place for every single product. Every single product deserves a preview. I don't care how small that product is, it deserves a preview. And if you have a bundle and you're using the bundling tool on TPT and you think to yourself, well, all of the products inside the bundle have previews, so I don't need to add one for the bundle. No, you need a preview for that bundle more than anything. We've been told by TPT that there are many schools who will not approve a purchase for a teacher if there is not a preview in place for a product. So make sure you have that preview for every product. And then the last thing I would say to you is pay attention to your descriptions. I used to do audits for people's store, and one of the things that I saw was pretty common. People got very wordy in their descriptions, and I'm talking about long paragraphs. Teachers don't have time. You guys know that. Teachers just were stretched to the limit for time and were pressed for time. So make your text broken into small little sections. Use bulleted lists where you can. Be very clear about what is included and sometimes what is not included in your product. So all of those things, I know that it sounds very basic, but they're so important.
Yeah, I agree. So what wouldn't make the cut? What are the things that you wouldn't, if for the first, let's say year of being on TPT, what would you say, yeah, I wouldn't spend time on that my first year while I'm stocking my store?
That's a really hard question because there are so many things, and what I would say no to for me might work for somebody else.
Right.
But so keep in mind that everybody's journey is going to look very different. But I would strongly encourage you, the word trends. So if something is trending, like a TikTok, I don't know.
Yes.
Social media. But let's just say everybody is doing a TikTok challenge. And it would take up a good chunk of your time to participate in that challenge and to do it. I would suggest perhaps sitting out and not doing that, because really, is that going to make a lasting difference for your business? I always tend to think of things in an investment of time. So if you spent maybe 2 hours, I don't know, doing a video for social media, editing it, getting the music just right, and all of that. And I'm once again, some people it might work for, but 2 hours to do that, or 2 hours working on a product's previews, cover, description, and which one is going to pay off more in the long run?
Right.
For me, it's those basic things that it's going to pay off. So I would urge caution when it comes to trending things, and think about the amount of time you're spending on those things.
Right. I agree. And you may disagree with me on this, but I would also add in, I think there's that tendency in my mind to be like, just do product creation until you get your stores filled. But I also recognize that starting in the beginning with some form of marketing is really helpful for when it
Yes.
is full. So, but I don't know that I would necessarily start with all of the things, social media, blog, Pinterest, email. I wouldn't start with all of them. I would pick one that you
Pick
think you would
one.
like to be doing in 5 years and maybe
Yes.
start there.
Pick one that you're comfortable with. For me, it would be email marketing.
Yeah.
You can do email, you can grow an email list without a blog.
Yeah.
You can grow an email list, without a huge social media presence. You can grow your email list. But I would agree with that. Just pick one, stick to that, and out of those, I think I would pick email list for
Yeah.
me.
That's what I would pick too. Yes, absolutely. So if someone who's listening who wants to take practical steps to grow their business this month, like let's say they're looking at the month ahead because we're getting into the point where everyone's pretty much started school at this point, and hopefully teachers are able to get into a routine, and maybe they're listening and they're thinking, okay, I'm ready to kind of start getting back into the swing of things with my store. What are some steps that they can take? And I know that you have a free challenge happening in the month of October. So can you tell us about that and a little bit about the challenge to let them know like how this would be some practical, simple steps that would help them grow their TPT business? Because I've done this challenge before. I've done it more than once and it's really great. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, this is the 6th year we're doing it, and I'm so excited. It's called the TPT Sellers Bingo Challenge, and it kicks off on Thursday, September 29th. And any seller can join, and any level of seller, because once again, what I teach other sellers to do, I practice myself, and I'm at a pretty good level of income now, thankfully, through TPT. So I think anybody can benefit from this. It's going to happen in my free Facebook group called TPT Seller Success. And I'm going to kick it off with a Facebook Live. I'll explain the whole challenge to you in that Facebook Live, and I will give you the bingo board for you to print out. Some people just use it right on the screen of their computer, which is fine as well. And when you get a bingo, you will enter your name for a drawing for a prize. We have over $500 worth of prizes this year.
Yay.
And I'm so excited. I love giving out prizes. My husband tries to keep me under control when it comes to giving out these prizes. But for me, it's so much fun to see people win and get excited. So that's what we do. And then I have added this year to the bingo challenge in that Facebook group, because the challenge is a month long. So the board will have tasks on it for you to do for your business. For example, one of the squares might see revise an old product cover so that it stands out. Another square might say something like add a preview to a product that doesn't have a preview, or revise a preview. So we've got a bunch of little tasks on there that will add up to really help your business over the long run. But what I've added this year is throughout all of October in that Facebook group, I'm going to be doing free lessons, video through Facebook Live. So the lessons I have lined up are creating eye-catching covers will be one session. Another session, we're going to talk all about snippets. If you don't know what a snippet is, you do need to know.
Yes.
And I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to leave it as a teaser. But they are very, very important to your product description. And then another one, we're going to talk all about using data and how to use the data, how to find the data, and how to use that data to help you grow. And then the last Facebook Live will just be an open question and answer. You can ask me whatever you want to ask me. So that's always a little scary to do like an open thing, but I feel like it could be very valuable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, that sounds like so much fun. I've made room in my schedule. I'm going to be participating this year. I'm going to be doing the bingo thing too. So I'm super excited about that. And for all of the extra lives and helps and lessons, that's going to be so much fun. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description for anyone who is watching or listening right now. You can go and join that Facebook group and be a part of that. You don't want to miss it. It only happens once a year, and it's lots of fun. So let's talk about let's do some fun questions for a
Okay,
second.
sure.
What's your favorite way to treat yourself? Because we know it was Diet Coke several years ago. Is it still Diet Coke, or you have another favorite now?
Unfortunately, it's still Diet Coke.
Oh no.
I love a big fountain drink, and I know I need to cut back. So just like, I love a fountain drink. I also like to go get a pedicure and a manicure. That's always
Yeah.
fun.
Nice. Favorite app on your phone?
I think Spotify.
Okay.
And I have playlists for different things. So when I'm working, I like to listen to music. If it's a task that's like doesn't require a lot of thought.
Yeah.
I also like to listen to podcasts, true crime.
Oh,
Yeah. And I would also say Zillow holds a close second as far as
yeah.
apps on my phone. I love looking at houses. I don't know why, but
I
it's
do
just
too.
fun.
I have zero intention of buying, but I'm always looking
Exactly.
outside of my price range. Like if I
Exactly.
were buying, I wouldn't be able to afford that. So, but yeah. Um, okay, so let's say you're gifted 2 round trip tickets to anywhere in the world. Where are you going, and who are you taking with you?
I am going to either Bora Bora or Australia.
Mm.
And of course, I would take my husband with me
Yeah, yeah.
because he's like my best friend. I'm very lucky. We've been together 28 years and
Wow,
he's just amazing.
that's awesome. I love that.
Thanks.
So what's next for you and for your business?
Oh, big goals. I have big goals for my own TPT store. Um, and I'm very excited to see where this year is going to end up. Last year, I had a huge goal and related to earnings. And I will tell you, December 31st came, and we were so close to that goal. All 4 of my boys and their girlfriends were here at the house, and were watching and the app, and it kept going up. And I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. And New Year's Eve enrolled the big number, and we
Oh,
all were screaming and jumping, and it was super exciting. We cut it to the wire, but it was close. So I've increased that goal, and obviously, along with that goal, it's not just about that income, but just reaching a greater number of teachers and helping them, because I know this is such a hard time for teachers. I feel like it's so hard right now, and I get that. So just helping those teachers is very rewarding. So
yeah,
yeah.
I love it. So how can listeners find you? We know they can find you inside of the Facebook group. Are you anywhere else? What's your TPT store? Everything? Are you Shelly
Yeah.
Rees or?
My TPT store is Shelly Rees, very original. And my blog is Appletastic Learning, and it is actually going through a revision right now, so I'm very excited about that.
Fun.
And on Instagram, I'm not hugely present, but you can always message me there. It's shelly.reese.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on today and sharing all of your wisdom and all of your amazing tips. Every time I get to listen to you, I always enjoy it. And so it was really fun to have you here.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate you inviting me. This has been a lot of fun chatting, so thank you.
Yeah.
If you want to join Shelly's free challenge, then all you have to do is check out the link down inside of the description and join her Facebook group for TPT sellers. And if you're a member of Rebranded Teacher Academy, this month we're focusing on creating a profitable freebie. And this challenge goes really nicely with what we are doing inside of Rebranded Teacher Academy. And so I'm really excited for RTA members to be able to do both if they so choose this month. If you're not inside of Rebranded Teacher Academy, then come join us this month. You can find out some information about that down in the description, as well as Shelly's free challenge. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. I put out weekly content that is designed to help you grow your Teachers Pay Teachers store, and I hope to see you in the next video.